This meeting is being recorded.
Earlier in the chapter, we looked at how alcohols could be prepared through reductions of ketones and aldehydes and even esters, anything with a carbonyl. And now we're going to look at the reverse of reduction with oxidation here. So now that we have an alcohol, it can be oxidized and we can form some other products. So in this example down here, we're actually shown not an oxidation reaction, but an E2 mechanism. So we have this tert butyl alcohol here. If you recall, that's not a very good leaving group. So we want to create a better leaving group using this tosylate, this tosyl chloride and pyridine. So over here, we've created our tosylate, which has that better leaving group. So now we can perform an E2 mechanism using sodium methoxide, and we end up with this alkene product here. So it's noted that the E2 reactions are generally preferred because if you remember with E1 reactions, we can generate a carbocation intermediate, and then rearrangements could occur. So with the E2 reaction pathway, we can control the radioselectivity of our Zaitsev and Hoffman products. So as mentioned, we looked at reduction previously to form alcohols from ketones, aldehydes, etc. Let's take a look at the reverse process now, the oxidation of an alcohol. And we'll see what our resultant products are depending on if we have a primary, secondary, or no reaction with a tertiary alcohol. So if we have a primary alcohol, as noted up here, we can treat it, right? We can oxidize it with certain reagents here. And we see that our alpha carbon, right, this alpha carbon here that's attached to our hydroxide group, this has two alpha protons. So this can be oxidized twice, these primary alcohols. In one oxidation, we can form an aldehyde, and then in a second oxidation, we can end up with a carboxylic acid. So we'll look at different reagents that can be used to convert these primary alcohols into aldehydes or carboxylic acids. If we have a secondary alcohol, now we only have one alpha proton here to oxidize. So that, if we did, this would result in a ketone. And let's keep going here. So that notes no further oxidation would occur. That's what this red X over our arrow means. If we have a tertiary alcohol, we do not have any protons at the alpha position, so we will not see oxidation occur with tertiary alcohols. So some of these reagents that can be used would be chromic acid, and we can use as a source to form chromic acid, we could use chromium trioxide and acidic conditions and acetone as our solvent, and that would generate chromic acid in this upper pathway. And then down below, we see we can start with sodium dichromate in aqueous acid, such as sulfuric and water, and that would also form our chromic acid that can be used as our oxidizing agent. So we see this oxidation of an alcohol with chromic acid involves two different steps here. So stage one, we have our alcohol, we have our chromic acid, and this forms what's called a chromate ester here. And this chromate ester, we can see, undergoes an E2 process here. We have our water, and it's acting as a nucleophile, or rather to perform this proton transfer. And then we have these electrons moving in, these electrons moving over here. So that's what forms this carbonyl in our ketone here. The electrons that were in this bond with this hydrogen have moved to form that pi bond between the carbon and the oxygen here. And we also generate some byproducts, right? We have acid and this chromate byproduct as well. So chromic acid will oxidize a primary alcohol all the way to form a carboxylic acid. It's challenging to stop it at this step here. It will just continue to oxidize both of these protons here. Since we have two protons rather at the alpha position, we have two oxidations. If we wanted to stop at an aldehyde, if we only wanted to oxidize our primary alcohol to form an aldehyde and retain that other proton, not form a carboxylic acid, we could use something PCC, this pyridinium chlorochromate, PCC for short. The structure is shown over here. And this would prevent that second oxidation if we used PCC and dichloromethane or methylene chloride, it's also commonly called. If we have a secondary alcohol, regardless of what reagents we use, whether we use our chromic acid formation up here or pyridinium chlorochromate in methylene chloride down here, if we start with a secondary alcohol, we'll always end up with our ketone product. There's no other hydrogens to oxidize or to form carboxylic acid, rather. So now we have why have we changed our oxidation methods? Why have we found other methods to perform oxidations? Well, chromium reagents are toxic and horrible for the environment. They form chromium salts. If you've heard of hexavalent chromium and all the other toxic forms. So alternative methods have been developed, and we'll look at two of them here. So the first is called the Swern oxidation, and the key reagents used here are dimethyl sulfoxide and oxalochloride. So these two reagents react with themselves. So the DMSO functions as the nucleophile, attacks the oxalochloride, right? So that's what we can see, this attack here. Now we have the chloride ion is expelled as a leaving group in this second step here. And then we have a substitution, nucleophilic attack, and loss of leaving group occur in one concerted step here. And now we have created this guy here, this active oxidant. So this is what is believed to be the mechanism to form this oxidant. And this active oxidant that we just formed, this chlorodimethyl sulfonium ion, is attacked by our alcohol. So here's our alcohol, there's the attack, loss of leaving group occurs in this substitution here. So we have nucleophilic attack, loss of leaving group. So we see that SN2 process happen. Then we have a proton transfer step with is facilitated by our triethylamine. This is functioning as a base to grab this proton here. Then we have another proton transfer again that occurs once more. And triethylamine again is functioning as a base now to grab this proton. And we have this intermolecular elimination that occurs, and we will expel this as a leaving group. So we produce a ketone and DMS, dimethyl sulfide, as our byproduct. So we can see that through the Swern oxidation method, we can still oxidize our alcohols to form ketones. And in this scenario here, just like PCC, our Swern oxidation will convert primary alcohols to aldehydes and not further oxidize those to carboxylic acid. So again, we have our dimethyl sulfoxide, we have our oxalochloride, and then we have our triethylamine reagent. So when you see this combination of reagent, these are within the Swern oxidation, right? As we saw all of our mechanistic steps here. And Secondary alcohols were converted to ketones, and then primary alcohols would be converted to aldehydes. So there's one other alternative method called the Des-Martin pyridine oxidation, and we can see that this is analogous or the same pathway as that of the Swern oxidation. It just has this DMP, this Des-Martin pyridine reactant, and methylene chloride instead of the reagents for the Swern oxidation, but we still have an aldehyde produced from a primary alcohol and a ketone produced from a secondary alcohol. You will not be responsible for the full mechanism of the Des-Martin oxidation, um, but you will be responsible for predicting products. So we have here our oxidizing agent, and we're asked to predict these products. So let's look at each of these three sites. So we have a secondary alcohol that is transformed to a ketone. We have an aldehyde here that's transformed to a carboxylic acid. And then last down here, our primary alcohol is converted to, again, a carboxylic acid. So the next section, 12.11, you will not be responsible for on exam. So we'll continue next time with the section 12.12.